Sagittarius, welcome to Monarch Intuition, and today I'm going to be doing your August 2022 mid-monthly check-in reading for you. So if you're new to my channel, what I like to do is I like to pull one major arcana to see the energy and then clarify with a different deck. So what major arcana needs to come out for the sign of Sagittarius? What do we need to know for you? We have Judgment. Okay, so the superpower of all three fire signs coming together. So when I see the Judgment card, this does represent the actual judgment of revelation, okay? So when we think of the Judgment Day of revelation, what does that entail? Well, it entails all sorts of trials and tragedies and, the rapture. That being the main focal point of the Judgment card is the rapture, people being in their graves, being called out into heaven or into a new life, right? And then the judgment and destruction of the world happens. So when I see this judgment energy, this can represent that you need to focus on being enlightened or being raptured into a new situation, okay? You do not want to be left behind when judgment takes place on a situation inside of your life right here. So in more layman's terms, what it represents is that you might be going through a really difficult situation. It's ultimately important, especially if you're looking back on the past right here, to understand that it was probably not a good situation to be in. There's a rhyme and reason for everything, Sagittarius. So if you're looking back and glamorizing a situation from the past, wondering why you can't have it right there, well, because there's a judgment call. You were raptured away from that situation, and then judgment can take place. Whatever it is, we don't know yet. So let's clarify this energy. What do we need to know for Sagittarius? What's going on for you? So I'm going to get 3 cards from the Revelations Tarot. This deck does have reversals in it. So we have the 9 of Swords, we have the Queen of Cups in reversed, and we have the 6 of Wands in reverse. Okay. So here's the thing about this judgment energy. I do see that you are overcoming an obstacle right here within your life. However, people are not happy with the 6 of Wands upside down or in reverse. You do feel very, very paranoid, and you do feel very upset about a situation involving this judgment energy. So potentially something from your past right here, something that you really wanted to work out, most likely didn't for you. And you're looking at that situation wondering why it couldn't happen. Here's the thing with this Queen of Cups energy. You have to understand that this Queen of Cups represents like a siren. And when I see a siren energy, this means someone who's trying to lure you into the depths of something. If we look at the book of Proverbs in the Bible, it represents, there is a prostitute who tries to lure men into her den of death. And that's kind of what a siren does, is she lures sailors into the bottom of the sea to basically sacrifice them, right? So what you have to understand is I feel like there's a situation within your life where something did not work out with this Queen of Cups energy, whether it be a person, place, or a thing. You were called away from it. You're feeling very upset about this 9 of Swords right here, like I really wanted to work with this energy. I feel like you have a victory regardless. I feel like it's a bittersweet victory going on for you. So let's clarify this 9 of Swords. I'm actually going to use this deck. So what do we need to know for the 9 of Swords? What's going on with this? I'll get you one more shuffle. So why is the 9 of Swords here? Why are you feeling scared, paranoid, and overthinking this situation? You have the Queen of Cups. Wow, the Queen of Cups upright. So we have the Queen of Cups in reverse, and we have the Queen of Cups upright. So what I'm seeing right here is that you are feeling some sort of lack because of this motherly-like situation. You really wanted this right here, whether it's a person, a place, or a thing. When I see the cup energy, it does represent emotional fulfillment. So there was a situation in your life that did represent emotional fulfillment, very nurturing energy. But here's the thing. If you look very closely within this card right here, you can see that her legs are actually a serpent. And so when you flip the card in reverse right here, you can see the serpent is upright, right? And you can see the woman is upside down. It kind of represents the duality of this card. Who is real? Is it the serpent or is it the woman? Does the woman control the serpent, or is the serpent controlling the woman as kind of like a decoy or an effigy? So we have the Hierophant. I do feel like it was in some sort of organization, though. A very structured organization. So this could also be representation of a commitment as well. So the Hierophant represents a multitude of things. It represents the masculine side of Taurus. So this can represent law, military, schooling, anything with a higher organization, higher ranking system. When I see the Hierophant as well, it can also represent a commitment. So you're wondering why you could not have this commitment with this Queen of Cups right here because, well, we're looking at the Queen of Cups in reverse. It was a decoy all along. So it was truly the snake and it was controlling the woman. So we have the Daughter of Grails and we have the Nine of Skulls. I kind of feel like you were willing and ready to kind of risk everything for this situation. With this Daughter of Grails and this Nine of Skulls right here, you're looking at it from a very naive point of view. You're looking at a situation thinking that this is sturdy, this is everything that I've ever wanted in my life. And here's the thing, a siren is sturdy. It is everything you could ever want in your life. But here's the thing, there is always a catch-22 behind it, right? So let's look at the Six of Wands. We have the Eight of Scepters and we do have the Four of Skulls. Your victory is that you had to hold on to everything. The victory right here is that you weren't allowed to have anything, and it's kind of like being bound in a situation. What happened very quickly is I feel like the situation fell apart very fast for you, all right? The Eight of Scepters is your energy. The situation fell apart very quickly. You were bound to something right here. You didn't want to let go, but that was ultimately your bittersweet victory. It's kind of like the universe came in, saw what was going to happen, and kind of like, you know, wrapped you up and moved you away from something very fast. But let's look at this Queen of Cups. Who is this person? What is this thing? We have the Prince of Knives and we have the High Priestess. Well, I've already spoken it to you from a higher perspective right here. That's what you have to understand, is that this person, this situation is a siren spirit, maybe a spirit of Jezebel, okay? When I think of a Jezebel spirit, this is someone who can come off very poised and graceful, okay? Someone who can come off as very alluring, very seductive, but has this very dark, sinister thing behind them, some sort of like curse. When we look at the tarot of the vampire, what exactly is a vampire? Well, when we look at the original meaning behind vampire, it represents something that feeds off of the life force of something else. So there are actually multiple types of vampires. As you can see right here, this vampire is represented as more of like a siren, so a mermaid who is evil. And sirens, when they, during the full moon, what would happen is they lure someone into them, they drag them underneath the water into their cove and crack their skull open and drink their blood out of their skull, right? So that's what the siren energy is. If we look at more traditional artwork, we can see that this is more of like a, you know, Dracula vampire, more traditional, more classical, someone who just has the fangs, someone who's still very humanoid. If we look at this vampire right here, it said that vampires who were alpha, like who were at the peak of vampirism, they could turn into wolves, like not actual werewolves. There's a difference. They could turn into the familiar of a wolf, like a wolf spirit. So as you can see that there are multiple different types of vampires in this situation. So what I'm telling you is that this person had a siren spirit. The siren spirit is to lure men in to gain something from them, to fulfill a benefit or a need, okay? So look at it away from the vampiric perspective, but look at it, what was this person hungry for? Was this person hungry for status, power, or wealth? Okay. And do they use their beauty? Are they controlled by something? Like, I don't actually believe in like vampires or anything like that. I'm looking at it more like, what is the spirit behind it? Because there are also incubi spirits, there are succubi spirits that fall underneath the vampiric category. So what I'm seeing right here is that it was to benefit. It was to feed off of you, whether your money, your resources, your time, your attention, to make you obsessed with this energy to pull something out of you, okay? Now, being bound to a situation is ultimately a bittersweet ending. People are not happy, or this person is not happy for you. You do receive a victory, but people are wanting to tear down your victory. Like, why didn't you fall apart? Maybe other people fell into this lure and they were hoping you would fall into it too, like falling into a trap. Maybe there is a trap in your life that was set for you, and what the trap was is, can you resist temptation? Maybe that's what this is that there is a situation or a scenario, or there is going to be one within your life that says, can you resist temptation? And I feel like you could. You really wanted something, but you did ultimately realize that it wasn't good for you. You bound yourself, or the universe bound you, and you received something right here, and people are not happy that you were able to overcome this. The spirit of the vampire, the spirit of, you know, Jezebel, whatever, is not happy that you overcame something, all right? We have the Six of Cups, we have the Three of Knives, and we have the Sun card. What you have to do is you have to look at it from more of a illumination perspective, okay? As you can see that this is more of like an incubus or a satyr right here. Remember, satyrs evolved into like the incubus mythology. So a satyr is technically also a vampire, a lascivious spirit. this was to bring you down, okay? But you saw illumination maybe at the very ending right here. You saw that you had to break your own heart in order to attain enlightenment. Maybe you know this about yourself. Maybe you've known this throughout your life, is that when something seems too good to be true, it generally is. And maybe that's something that you just feel internally. And maybe you can just read that on people. Like when someone is coming too close to you, you have the spirit of discernment about you, right? So with the Six of Cups is something wanted to give you this cup right here, but you ultimately knew that it was going to be heartbreak. That's the enlightenment right there. Or maybe this is your first time going through an enlightenment phase. That could be very difficult for you, is understanding about the different spirits that people have, the different spirits that control others. Because here's the thing, not everyone has a Siren spirit, not everyone has a Jezebel spirit. Some people have like more demonic spirits, some people have angelic spirits. You know, there are personalities, there are belief systems that other people have that they might not tell you. And that's something that you have to understand about the spiritual community, is that a lot of people have different spirits, things, angels, entities, demons, whatever, that they pray to, that they worship. Even people you wouldn't think is being spiritual pray to something, okay? Even if they are, you know, say that they're atheists. There's an old military saying that there are no atheists in foxholes. It's kind of true. So with this Six of Cups and this Three of Swords and this Sun energy, is that this might have been your first time receiving enlightenment and receiving a bittersweet victory. So Sagittarius, if this is your first time this has happened to you, understand that it's a blessing in disguise, okay? And now you can understand and you can see discernment from a mile away. You can see these spirits from a mile away. Now, if this is not your first time, I feel like you overcame a trial or a victory right here. You have something, you have this sunlight energy. Yes, you have a broken heart with this Three of Swords, but here's the thing, is that something was trying to prey off of your innocence. Someone saw you as this Daughter of Cups, and the Six of Grails represents an older person handing off this cup to a younger person. It's an older brother handing off the cup to his sister. That represents, and in general, the Six of Cups is a good card. It represents, you know, that he's trying to make her happy for a day. He wants her to pretend she's a princess, and, you know, he's like being her knight in shining armor, whatever you want to believe in, right? So he's trying to play pretend with her. And that's what I'm seeing right here, is that this Queen of Cups saw you as this Daughter of Grails and was trying to play pretend. Something happened right here that caused a shift, all right? Whether it was an angel, whether it was, you know, just whatever, caused a shift within your life that forced you to hold on to who you were as a human being. By you doing so, by you giving this up, by you not giving anything, because that's what the Four of Pentacles represents, not giving away to something. You didn't receive and you did not take from this Queen right here. That's where the illumination comes into your life, okay? So the Sun card is the happiest card of the deck. There is a reason to celebrate. I feel like you don't want to celebrate right here. You just don't want to celebrate. You're like, I wish I could. I understand it's a victory. I kind of feel like you deep down know that it's a victory, Sagittarius. I just don't think you're seeing it as that. Like, maybe you do realize it, but it's ultimately bittersweet. And, you know, we don't have to always celebrate victories within our lives. I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, peace, love, light, whatever. I'm going to be one of those people that's real. Like, sometimes victory sucks, all right? Like, when you have to go against one of your best friends in, like, a competition or whatever, and maybe you win or they win, it's kind of hard. Like, you want to feel good for them, and maybe you are happy, but ultimately deep down you're like, I wish I could have won, or I feel bad that I won. Like, that's kind of like the bittersweet thing. So, you know, not every victory is going to be like, ooh, hurrah, I win. It's going to be, you know, sometimes sad. So, and that's just a fact of life, all right? So when people say, oh, you should celebrate, no, take your time and try to rationalize situations, okay? If you don't feel comfortable in a situation and it doesn't feel good for you, then you don't have to force yourself to do anything. You don't have to force happiness, all right? You have the Death card, you have the Hanged Man, and you have the Queen of Knives. I feel like something's ended, but you have to see it from a higher perspective. You have to see it from the Queen of Knives' logical point of view, all right? If we look at this energy right here, it's very odd to see. As you can see, they're a very similar picture, okay? This queen is now laying in the coffin. As you can see, there is a snake coiling up her. What's surrounding her is wild mountain roses, all right? The wild mountain rose represents being bound eternally. One of the ways that you could cause a vampire to, if you could not destroy the vampire, one of the ways that you could cause them to eternal sleep and eternal suffering was to put them in a coffin and bury them with wild mountain roses around them. That would prevent them from waking up. As you can see, she understands that she's eternally bound to this death energy. She's eternally bound in this coffin unless someone comes and removes the roses and releases her. And I feel like from a higher perspective, that's what you need to understand, is that, you know, something bound this energy away from you. See it from a higher perspective. When I see the Queen of Swords, this is the message that you need to hear. I feel like this is the way the reader is supposed to speak to you. It can also represent a very sharp, logical thinking person, a logical thinking queen on a chessboard, all right? Sometimes you have to, you know, sacrifice your queen. Sometimes that sucks. However, if you win the game, you win the game. Now, when I see this Queen of Swords, it represents logic and intuition. So you need to see something from a higher point of view, all right? This has ended. There's a reason behind it. The reason behind it is what we've just talked about. You have the Chariot representing a victory. You have the Five of Scepters representing people are not happy that you've overcome this trial. So here's the thing. What's happened right here is that the Chariot has come down, right? The Chariot represents the prophet Elijah. Elijah being brought up into the chariot into heaven. He never died, right? So he essentially cheated death. And I kind of feel like that's very important for you to understand right here, is that you walked into this chariot and you ascended. Other people had to go through this trial, this Five of Scepters energy, and they had to fight amongst it. And maybe, you know, some people fell into temptation. They lost the fight. You ultimately overcame it with the Six of Wands. So the Five of Wands represents, you know, a conflict. Six of Wands represents victory. Seven of Wands represents protecting what you want, your victory, your crown, right? So I feel like you've gotten into this chariot and you rose above this Five of Scepters situation, and you did receive the victory. Other people are angry that you received it, and you're upset that you may have received it too. You're just like, I don't even care. I really wanted this. I mean, I won, but what did I win? I kind of feel like that's what you're more or less thinking about. Like, what did you win? Like, ultimately, what's the point? That's what you're thinking right now. So with this Queen of Swords, is I feel like the point of it is you've seen things from a higher perspective. You see logic, you see intuition. The High Priestess is always 20/20, hindsight being 20/20. Seeing where everything has led you within your life, seeing how this situation, you rising above it, could be beneficial for you, like maybe 5-10 years down the line. So what is the ultimate victory for Sagittarius? Let's look at that. We have the Tower, we have the Wheel of Fortune, and we have the Justice. Wow, 3 major arcana coming out. That's your victory right here. A tower falls apart, tables turn. So I feel like your tower falls apart. Whatever you've built for yourself, whatever the situation was, it fell apart. Like, it's over, it's done, right? The Wheel of Fortune is here to spin the cycle back up, all right? So you went down to the bottom of the Wheel of Fortune. That represents your tower falling down. And now you can build from the ground up and return it to the top, right? You can rebuild the tower. You have a second chance to do something right here with this Justice energy. The Justice energy represents the balance of the scales, representing that when something is terrible, something has to be balanced with equally good. And when something's equally good, something has to be balanced with something terrible. That's kind of like the idea of equivalent exchange in the law of the universe. A lot of people don't like to represent justice as, like, you know, good and bad. But that's what it is. It's like, when something good happens, something bad happens. When something bad happens, something good happens. You have to understand that. That's the idea of karma. That's the idea of karmic law. That's the idea of, like, you know, human law. That's the consensus to justice, all right? It's like an object in, no, not an object in motion. There's another saying, it's like an opposite force. I forgot how that saying goes. I might put it in the comments for you. By equal opposite force, something like that. That's what the Justice represents. It's a mathematical saying and a philosophical saying, but you generally use it in math, all right? So what I'm seeing is that your tables will turn for you and it will be equalized out. So if something fell apart and you're going through this and you're like, what's the point? It will be balanced out for you. All right, so whatever you put in right here, you might have a second chance to redo something, or something good will just come in to replace that. Something much better, because when you go through the Wheel of Fortune cycle, you can think, wow, that's pretty terrible. And then you cycle through the situation, and it could be a much better situation for you. You get a redo. You can rebuild this tower somewhere else, because sometimes when, you know, you have this tower and you're like, wow, I don't really like this tower. I wish it was like this. I wish the bathroom was here. I wish it was over there. You know, I wish I had a bigger bedroom. And then say, you know, the house falls apart, you get a large insurance payout, and then you can rebuild the house that you want. Like, that's kind of what this is right here. It's like tragedy, and then boom, it's like Well, that was really good. Now I can do something that I actually want to do. That's the balance of the situation. It was tragic, but then you receive something, right? That's why people buy insurance, because you're betting against the situation. You're saying, when you buy health insurance, you're essentially saying that the hospital will pay you if you get sick. And the hospital is saying to you, betting against you, saying you're not going to get sick and I'm not going to have to pay you. Like, that's the situation right there. So when I see this right here, it will be balanced out for you, Sagittarius. I feel like something, good is going to happen for you. Let's look at that. You have the Page of Scepters, you have the Queen of Skulls, and you have the Four of Cups. Here's the thing, don't be too bitter about a situation. I do feel like a Capricorn is coming into your life, trying to help you out right here. And it doesn't always have to be a Capricorn. It can just be represented by someone who's earthy, a feminine earth sign coming into your life, trying to give you this cup. I feel like you don't really want it from them. You're coming from this base fire energy, this base fire perspective. I feel like it could be beneficial for you. Yeah, you have the Four of Scepters. It could be a victory for you. You could be celebrating right here. So that's what's important to understand, is that don't be too jaded by this situation, because it's funny. That's the Siren energy, that Queen of Cups. But then when we look at this Queen of Skulls, it represents Capricorn, the sea goat. And it can represent, the devil or whatever the Queen of Skulls can. It's tied to Capricorn. And I kind of feel like maybe you're scared of a Capricorn now, like later on down the line. You could be like very freaked out about a Capricorn coming into your life saying, no, I don't want to fuck with that. I've already dealt with these Siren-like people. I don't want to deal with anything associated to the devil right here. But here's the thing, you have the Four of Scepters. Four Scepters does represent, happiness. Represents coming together, a celebration. Like if you accept the cup with the Queen of Skulls right here, it's very earthy, very nurturing, very catered to you, wants to give you to you, wants to help you out, all right? This could be a job coming in, a person actually manifesting into your life. I feel like you want to turn it down. Why? Yeah, Seven of Scepters, you're scared. You're like on guard about this. You're like paranoid about everything because of this situation. But it does represent, you want to celebrate. You can have a happy beginning. The Five of Knives, you might actually be very sharp with this person. I'd be careful and I'd watch your tongue right here. You might want to start an argument with this person based off of past experiences. The Ace of Skulls, all they want to do is they want to come in and give you the Ace of Skulls. Because remember, the Queen of Pentacles holds a Pentacles. She holds an Ace of Pentacles. And so with this Ace of Pentacles, I feel like this Queen wants to come in and help you out. But you're like, get the fuck back. You're evil. And all they want to do is like, celebrate with you, want to help you out. They're like actually a nurturing person. So be aware of that, okay, Sagittarius? So let's look at your oracle cards. I'm going to pull you a couple of Halloween oracle cards. You have midnight, the most magical hour of all. So pay attention to, 0000 or 1200. Just pay attention to that energy, okay? When I see this midnight, the most magical hour of all, it does represent a time of manifestation. It does represent a time of like internal peace and internal solitude. So maybe start saying a prayer, maybe start, doing a ritual. Like, I'm not saying like perform a dark ritual or anything, but maybe you have like a bathing ritual. I almost said a bathing ritual, a bathing ritual, or a, crystal ritual, whatever it is. But pay attention to midnight. You have skeleton strength. I do see that you're going to have a lot of strength to get through this situation. I mean, judgment is harsh. That's the thing. I feel like you know this right here. You're a fire sign. So you do have the strength card coming out, and you do have the Sun card coming out, which represents Leo energy, which is the fixed fire sign. So you being, I believe, the mutable fire sign, I would say pay attention to this Leonian energy, this stable, fixed energy, especially in the month of August. I feel like that's something that you can look forward to in the month of August, is like, just having stability, all right? In the month of Virgo, that could be the Queen of Pentacles. Queen of Pentacles is Capricorn, but, in Virgo season, which is Earth season, something good could be happening for you. Just pay attention to that. I will be, checking in a couple of weeks to do your September monthly readings. So what's going on for Sagittarius? I'm going to be using the spellcasting oracle cards right here. We have the good luck card and we have the blessings. Here's the thing. You're going to receive the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is your card, Sagittarius. It's one of your cards, all right? So good luck. And you have a blessing coming out. Allow this situation to play out. Allow to feel what you have to feel. If you're not happy, voice not being happy and saying, I don't want to celebrate. It was a victory, but it was a shitty victory to a shitty situation. Like maybe you didn't even want to be put in this test, this trial, this, person coming into your life. Maybe you just wanted, maybe you're a decent person, Sagittarius, and you're just like, I really just wanted to find love, or I wanted to have a good time. I wanted to have a good life. I just wanted to have a stable beginning in my life, right? And then all of a sudden this trial from the universe comes by and is dropped into your lap, and you're like, why? Because if the universe is going to bless you with something really good, it has to give you a really bad situation first. That's why when people make deals with the angels, that's why when people pray to angels and whatnot, I'm like, I don't think you're ready for that, that colossal calamity that angel is going to drop in your lap, because that's what the angels have to do first. They have to test you to see if you're worthy. That's like the idea of Jacob's ladder, right? Jacob had to fight the angel all night long. So I kind of feel like you wanted something really good to happen. Well, it's here, it's going to happen, but the scales of justice have to be balanced out first. You have to overcome the trial to see if you're worthy to have it. Because even if, an angel only gives you a piece of manna from heaven, that's still a piece of manna from heaven. It would blow the world's mind, right? You would be a multi-billionaire if that could happen, right? The devils, the demons would want that piece of manna from heaven. The governments of the world would want to test it, and they would pay you anything you wanted. Like, even if it was just a crumb, like that big, manna, right? So that's kind of what I'm seeing right here, is that you passed the test. It was an angelic test. It was a divine test. That could be that sun test. It was like the test of God right here. And you passed it. You get the blessings out of it now. And it's really good. So don't be scared of what you've manifested. Don't be scared of this blessing coming into your life. You're like, oh my God, I'm scared of it now. I mean, it's okay. I feel like it's okay. All right? I feel like you're just... It was such a shock the way that this played out for you, Sagittarius. I feel like it was just like a what the fuck moment. But you know what it is now, so. You have ferret, observant, and you have moth, caution. So be aware. It taught you caution, it taught you patience, and it taught you how to be observant to things. And that's something that you have to understand right there. You're more observant, right? And I kind of feel like you're overly cautious. And, sometimes being overly cautious is like, a bit too much, and maybe that's what you're feeling right here. That song, like, because of you, I don't stray too far from the sidewalk. Like, that's what I'm hearing for you right now. It's like this traumatized you. Whatever this queen was, whatever happened to block you from this queen, whatever just transpired within your life, you're like, what the hell? So you have the flow energy, and you have manifestation. I feel like you prayed, you manifested with the angels. You said, angels, I want this. Well, angels like, bet. And with this flow energy, I feel like you just went with the flow. Now continue to go with the flow right here, Sagittarius. Continue to just allow the blessings to pour into your life. And maybe next time, sometimes you have to just be cautious when dealing with angels. Like, don't bite off more than you can chew. All right? Maybe this time you did. It's okay. Learning experience. But go with the flow now. You passed it. That's why I always tell people, like, what do you deserve? Don't try to manifest too much, especially with angels, because they will hit you with everything that they got. Jera, harvest, reward, fruition, maturity, growth, spiritual meaning, right action, natural law. That law of justice right there. The natural law is equal and opposite effects, right? With the reward and the fruition energy, this is your manifestation coming in. This is the reward for going through this. You've gained maturity, you've grown through something, but don't be too like, I'm scared of everything now, and shut yourself down. You have Berkana, encourage ideas, aid creative endeavors, nurture a project, and help with family. So I feel like this is a very good reading for you, Sagittarius. You went through it, but prepare for the new life. Prepare for the new phase. Don't block yourself off because you're scared, okay? So anyway, Sagittarius, I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I'll talk to you later.